Chances, lots of corners late on, especially just wouldn't go in for you today. Is it frustration ultimately?
Yeah, because I don't think that the performance overall deserved, from the players that they deserve to lose the game. But ultimately we have, and we got to try to change that because I think the general consensus and what I've been told, and I think from you guys as well, is that the performances have been better. There's a little bit, do we get almost you give up that to get the results? But I do believe you've got to put in decent performances more often than not in general to give yourselves a better chance of winning the game. So we will obviously want to stick with that and hope that something can drop. There's a little bit on us in terms of, I think, a bit of composure at times. We kind of bit slashing at things. And I think on a day like today, we gave them the lift in terms of their goal. Now we win the first contact, which is good. The second, I need to look back at it, but my impression is we didn't get it right in terms of giving ourselves the best chance of getting to that second ball, and then found ourselves behind. But I can't really knock the players in terms of an effort point of view. What I would say is I was disappointed with the start we made, and I think we took 20 minutes probably to get started, and that whether that's a knock-on of the previous two games, that's how it looked. But then we have spells, so you got suddenly find your energy only in terms from a mental aspect in maybe good touches you have or situations in the game.
Yeah, I'm sure in many ways it was an untidy goal to concede from your viewpoint, having started the second half quite brightly as well.
I think for the majority of the game, we were the team pushing on top. Now, I think once they get in front, they would probably be happy in terms of defending a bit deep and not committing men forward. I do think we also pushed them back though. I can't imagine, although they ended up keeping a clean sheet, that their bench would have been too happy, with the amount of crosses and set plays that they had to defend. We've had the keeper's made an excellent save from Aaron Pierre. He's made he might say it's a good save. In my view, we're just looking back, a kind of lucky save from Shea Dunkley, sort of in no man's land and turns his back on it and it somehow hits him. And then something that we've just seen, that I don't know if you will have even noticed, I didn't notice on the day, that's what my comments were just then. Shea Dunkley has his shirt ripped over his head. He then has a sort of punch thrown at him, all in line that the referee should be seeing. And like I said, I didn't see it at the time, so I went at the end of the game, not kicking off it about him, but I've just seen it back. It's almost like comical. It's that bad, what's going on in there. So we all know that there's physical contact and tussling and so on. That is way too far, as in it has to be a penalty. So that would have been nice to have got that. So that adds to it, I guess, the frustration. Like I said, that's the sort of first time I've seen that.
When you turn to the bench, Paul, second half, made all 5 changes, 4 at the same time as well. Did you feel they gave you something extra, some fresh impetus, some energy?
I think some of them did, certainly. Like I said, I just felt with the games it was a concern going into it, but I needed to, I think, experience it in terms of me with this group. It's the first time, and the sort of 2 games against really tough opposition probably took a lot out of the players. But like I said, we'd looked after them in terms of preparation and going into the game. Again, maybe that's why they took time to get going to a degree. But yeah, it'll certainly be on my mind and whether get it right. But after Reading next week, we go, obviously, is it Lincoln then Blackpool, I think it is. So that'll be sort of coming into consideration, certainly.
Have you had a chance to have a quick look at the table?
Yes.
As yet, to see how close it is? I think Shrewsbury 3 points clear of the bottom 4 as it stands after these results today.
Yeah, it's very, very tight. I think, results, some went for us, some didn't. A couple of teams playing each other, so you're not going to get, unless it's a draw perhaps, and men sent off. That's the ideal for us. But look, there's a big part like I said, I do look. I'm not going to deny that. I haven't studied it. I had a quick glance, but ultimately we have got to look at ourselves first and foremost. As it stands, we've got obviously enough games and points to play for where it's in our hands still. And that sort of performance overall, I'm not saying it was brilliant, but I think what they did is they kept going and got on top of the game. So it wasn't as, a free-flowing game, but I think Wigan, that first 20 minutes, there were a couple of moves they had which were excellent, and you kind of thinking this could be a long afternoon. So there's some credit in terms of persisting with the game and then getting on top of it. But we've got to somehow find a way of not, me being stood here or in the dressing room, the players having that feeling of how did we lose that game? Because ultimately, the facts are we did.